Good evening and welcome to News Stories on Omalicha Radio 91.1 FM, your number one development radio station. I am Rosemary Mwabasi Ibebu. The headlines: Power crisis, poor refrigeration could put Nigerians at risk of food contamination, expert warns. 2027 elections, INEC extends deadline for governorship assembly candidates. Israel rejects US-backed Gaza peace plan. WAFCON, Super Falcons exit tournament after 1-0 loss to Cameroon. Now the news in details. Nigeria's persistent power supply challenges may be creating an often overlooked food safety risk, as frequent outages can make it difficult for households and food businesses to maintain proper refrigeration for perishable foods. Industrial microbiologist Dr. Mema Morin raised the concern in an interview with our correspondent Rosemary Onwapasi Bebu. Dr. Mema says food that require refrigeration can become unsafe when they are stored under poor conditions, as inadequate temperature control can encourage the growth of microorganisms.
Stored in a very poor condition. For example, you have foods which you need to refrigerate, and then you have power supply. You have bad power supply. It can also cause contamination. It can aid the growth of microorganisms in the food. And then when those foods are consumed,
The expert says the concern extends beyond commercial food businesses, as households also need to take greater care in storing leftover meals. She advised that cooked and leftover foods should be properly covered and stored under appropriate conditions.
eat leftover food. The food you're eating, which you left over from the previous day, was it properly covered? Was it properly kept? That's why you have the microwaves. You put them in the microwaves and shut it. You put them in the fridge. You know. But now the funny thing now is we have these little cockroaches running around our houses. We can even find them in our fridge now. So even when you put your food item in your fridge, you make sure they are the lids, the covers of your storage containers are covered properly. So we also need to ensure proper storage of food in our homes and also in different companies.
Dr. Mema, however, warns that refrigeration alone does not guarantee food safety, as insects and rodents can still contaminate food that is poorly stored. The expert says preventing contamination requires attention not only to how food is cooked, but also to how it is stored before it is consumed. She urged households and food businesses to treat proper food storage as an essential food safety, particularly for perishable foods that depend on refrigeration. Chairman of the Imo State Council of Nigeria Union of Journalists, Former chairman of the Imo State Council of Nigerian Union of Journalists, Ben Oswago, has backed the recent meeting between Catholic bishops of Nigeria and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, urging the federal government to act on the concerns raised about the hardship that is faced by Nigerians. Oswago made the call in a statement titled "The Catholic Bishop's Visit to President Tinubu, a Call for Urgent National Attention and Not Condemnation." He said the bishops were exercising their moral responsibility by speaking on issues affecting Nigerians and dismissed criticism that their intervention were politically motivated. Osuagwu expressed concerns over rising food prices, insecurity, unemployment, unpaid pensions, salary arrears, and poor infrastructure. The former NUJ chairman, who alleged that he is owed 75 months of pension arrears, 12 years of salary arrears, and retirement gratuity dating back to 2012, urged President Tinubu to see the bishop's concern as a call for corrective actions and take urgent steps to ease economic hardship and address insecurity. He said constructive criticism from religious leaders should be seen as an opportunity to improve governance rather than an attack on the government. Insecurity and alleged human rights abuses are discouraging some youths in the southeast from joining the Nigerian Armed Forces, according to International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law Inter-Society. The group made the claim in a joint report with the US-based Elewenche Research Institute released in Enugu on Sunday, August 9, 2026. The report, signed by Inter-Society Chairman Emeka Emegwalasi and Ekwenche Research Institute President Justin Akujeze, alleged that thousands of families in the region are still searching for relatives who reportedly disappeared during security operations. The organizations did say the situation has weakened confidence in security agencies and may be contributing to youth reluctance to enlist in the military. They called for greater accountability and measures to restore public confidence in security institutions across the southeast. The Independent National Electoral Commission has extended the deadline for political parties to upload the names and particulars of their governorship and State House of Assembly candidate for the 2027 elections. INEC, in a statement issued by its Information and Voter Education Chairman Mohammed Haruna, extended the deadline earlier fixed for August 8 to August 11, following appeals from political parties for additional time to complete the process. Meanwhile, the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress (APC), Nathaniel Yewada, says the party has already beaten INEC's initial deadline. Yewada disclosed that the APC completed the upload of its governorship and State House of Assembly candidates ahead of the August 8th deadline. The governorship and State House of Assembly elections have been scheduled for April 6, 2027. The federal government has increased seismic monitoring activities in the Federal Capital Territory following a mild earth tremor recorded in parts of Abuja. Omalisha FM's Owerri monitored reports from several news media outlets indicating that the tremor was detected by the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency (NGSA) at exactly 11:23 a.m. on Tuesday. Minister of Solid Mineral Development Dele Alake subsequently directed the agency to provide hourly updates on seismic developments in and around the FCT. In a statement issued on Wednesday by his special assistant to media, Lara Owoye Wise, Alake urged residents to remain calm and continue with their normal activities. The NGSA said the tremor originated from a depth of 1 kilometer and traveled about 4 kilometers within 5 seconds. The agency classified the incident as a light event measuring between 1 and 2 on the Mercalli scale, saying it was too weak to cause structural damage. According to the NGSA, the surface earth tremor posed no threat to lives or property, although the shaking could cause discomfort and fear among residents. Alake, who is currently in Washington, D.C., United States, engaging investors on joint venture opportunities in the solid minerals sector, said proactive measures have been put in place to protect residents and property. He assured the public that the government, through the NGSA, would continue to monitor seismic activities and provide regular updates on any further developments. You're listening to the news on Omalicha Radio 91.1 FM or where I'm Rosemary Mwabas Iwebu. More when we come back from the break. Please do stay with us.
When news breaks, Omalicha 91.1 breaks in.
I admit the decision will impose extra burden on the masses of our people. I feel your pain.
Reliable.
I disagree with them. What they're actually preaching is the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria is accepting wrongdoing, accepting what is unacceptable. That is using God's name in vain.
And accurate.
I had the opportunity to speak with the president on the issues of security and insecurity in Imo State.
Listen to Omalicha News 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. Saturday and Sunday for the latest local and international news on Omalicha 91.1 Owerri.
All these institutions, we need to reform. They need purging, overhauling, and the reformation.
Omalicha News, news you can trust.
Welcome back. On the international scene, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected a U.S.-backed 15-point peace plan for Gaza, insisting that Israel will not withdraw its troops from the territory until Hamas is fully disarmed. The proposal, backed by U.S. President Donald Trump, reportedly provides for a phased Israeli military withdrawal, the disarmament of Hamas, and a transition to a new Palestinian administration. Netanyahu's rejection represents a setback to Washington's efforts to secure a settlement to the Gaza conflict and end the fighting. Authorities in British Columbia, Canada, have declared a province-wide state of emergency as fast-moving wildfires forced thousands of residents to evacuate their homes. About 18,000 people have reportedly been evacuated, while the Bald Range wildfire alone had spread across more than 10,300 hectares by Saturday night. The Canadian federal government has approved emergency assistance to provide shelter and accommodation for displaced residents. Firefighters from Australia, New Zealand, and Mexico are also supporting local crews as hot and dry conditions continue to fuel the fires. And in sports, Nigeria's Super Falcons have crashed out of the 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations after losing 1-0 to Cameroon in the quarterfinals on Sunday. The defeat ended Nigeria's bid to retain the continental title, with Cameroon advancing to the semi-finals after a decisive goal settled the encounter. Cameroon's victory also secured the indomitable Lionesses an automatic ticket to the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup in Brazil, while Nigeria will have to pursue qualification through the playoff route. The Super Falcons, who entered the tournament as defending champions and 10 times winner, were among the favorites to win the competition but failed to overcome a determined Cameroonian side. Nigeria's exit means that the team will now have to wait for the outcome of the remaining qualification process to determine their chances of featuring at the 2027 World Cup. Still on sports, the Nigeria's National League (NNL) is set to hold its 7th annual general meeting in Owerri, the Imo State capital, as preparations intensify for the 2026-2027 football season. The meeting, scheduled for August 21st, is expected to bring together officials of the league and representatives of participating clubs to deliberate on key issues ahead of the new season. Among the issues expected to feature are preparations for the 2026-2027 campaign, club licensing, and other administrative matters affecting the second-tier professional football league. The NNL serves as the second tier of Nigeria's professional men's football structure below the Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL). The Owerri meeting is expected to provide an opportunity for stakeholders to review the league's activities and set the directions for the new season. And that's the news on Omalicha Radio, as produced by Rosemary Nwabasi Ibebo. If you have an eyewitness report or wish to make inquiries, do reach out to our news desk at Omalicha Radio 91.1 FM via calls to 090 30670 email at info@omalichamedia.com. You can also tweet at us via our handle on X at Omalicha Radio or follow us on Facebook at Omalicha Radio. Thank you for listening. I am Rosemary Nwabasi Bebu. Good evening.
For effective advertising, event coverage,